That should do it. Hold on. Of course, the little thing falls apart when I need it. Hold on. Yeah, we are recording, so let me just set up the shot nicely. Okay. Mic is taller than I expected, so maybe I have a book or something I can put underneath the camera. I added something. That might work. That will work quite nicely. So, let's go with the interview. Go ahead.
So as a manager here at Knoxville Ice Bears, hockey is a big part of your life. At what age did hockey, was the sport of hockey introduced to you?
Well, I was born in Canada, so you shake a tree in Canada, 100 hockey players fall out, and really nothing else to do there when I was a kid. So I've been skating since I was 2 years old. All I ever wanted to be was a pro hockey player, and as it is now, it's one of the toughest things to do, and I was able to do it. So, I mean, that's to get to where I am now. Obviously, I'm very blessed to be able to get up, especially here in the South, and do hockey every day. So that's great.
Yeah, so you said you were drafted to the New York Islanders, and then you also played for the Philadelphia Flyers. So what was that experience like finally reaching your goal of playing?
Well, I think it happened a lot faster than I expected it to. I was in Canada. You can get drafted at 15 years old, and I was, and I moved away from home at 15. I lived with a new family and playing in front of 5,000 people a night, and going to a different school. And then I was a late birthday, August 29th, so it was the NHL draft came really fast after that. So then I got drafted to New York Islanders. I think I was their youngest draft choice at 17. And everything just kind of went really quick from there. I was very fortunate to win all of Canada my last year, junior, and then 2 years later we won a Calder Cup when I was in the minors with Philadelphia and Hershey. So everything just kind of happened really, really quick, and you either brought up right and you know what to do when you get away from home, and you don't take advantage of that, and you respect the people you live with, and otherwise you're back home just as fast as you left. So like I said, I'm very blessed to do what I do today, every day.
Yeah, starting so young, how did you stay grounded, and did you transition mostly by yourself, or?
Well, I'll be the first to admit that I probably didn't ask as many questions as I should have asked to know what the next steps were, because it was just so in the moment. But obviously having great parents, great support, and just being around good people, and try to ask the questions. But I mean, like I said, things happen so quickly that it's just next thing you know, you're signing an NHL contract and you get a signing bonus, and no one really taught you how to do anything with money then, and it's just crazy.
Let's swap out interviewers. Do we have another volunteer? I see another volunteering gesture. Is there one over here that I missed? Okay. All right, volunteering gesture, take over.
I'm Riley.
Hi, Riley. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So leaving your house at 15, do you feel like you're still close with your family? Were you able to stay in contact with them during training?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we talk almost daily. I mean, my mom finds a way to find out where I am. It was a little tougher when I was done playing in Philly. She could watch on ESPN. She could watch just about anywhere. But then when I was done in Philadelphia, I went to Europe twice. I went to Germany for a year, and I went to Denmark for a year, and 7 months at a time for the hockey seasons over there. It was a pretty tough gig because there was only one import allowed per team that I played on over there, so I was it for my team, and I basically had to outplay the other team's import. And I mean, everywhere we went on the road, I mean, they all knew who the import was, so I think they whistle in Europe. They don't boo. So every time I touched the puck, they would whistle at me. But the same thing happened when those guys came to play us. So, but yeah, it's like I said, hockey's been great. I've been all over the world as a result of it. Never thought I'd be in Knoxville, Tennessee, though.
Hockey's a very physical sport. So did you begin building that muscle immediately, or was there kind of a transition when you went pro, that you had to put on more muscle?
Yeah, that's a great question. You just grow up and you play the sport. hockey players have big bums and big legs. I mean, that's all we do. We're in the crouch position all the time skating. But when you turn pro, all of a sudden it becomes a job. And I remember when I got the mail from the Philadelphia Flyers, there was a booklet in there, and it had a list of requirements that I needed to be able to do before I ever stepped on the ice at camp. And it was, for lack of a better term, what they do now is a combine. So that in those pages was just I had to run, 2.5 miles or 2 miles in 12.5 minutes. And for skater guys, some of us don't run real well. So, bench press your weight 10 times, all these other things, have less than 10% body fat before you ever step on the ice. And if you can't meet those requirements, you're basically pegged as someone that didn't train hard enough to be there. And so that was an eye-opener for me. And then obviously, when I played hockey, I grew up on chicken parm and maybe the odd alcoholic drink. But now even all my players now, they're so in tune with their bodies. They're, all the Ice Bear guys, they're like, protein shakes after practice, and eating chicken and couscous and all this other good stuff for you that maybe if I had done that, I would have played a few more years longer. But anyway, yeah, things have changed, and guys that are just really in tune to their body, because the money they're making now, there's always someone that could take your job at any point. So.
Let's switch out interviewers. I have another volunteering gesture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi there,
Hi.
I'm Val.
Hi, Val. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I wanted to ask a question about the difference between Canadian hockey and American hockey. When you first came over to Knoxville and started working as a manager over here, what struck you about the difference between how the crowds reacted, how the social media presence was, anything like that?
Well, I mean, I'll dial it back a little bit. When I was with the New York Islanders, I was shocked that we played the Toronto Maple Leafs in an exhibition game one time, and after the coach came in and said whatever he had to say to us, boom, these doors opened up, and it was male and female reporters, and I was pretty taken aback by that, because that wasn't that was really a thing back then. But the biggest difference, I mean, I think obviously when the USA won the gold medal in '80, I mean, that changed hockey in the United States forever. And for the longest time it was Canadians no hockey, Canadians no hockey, and if you're not Canadian, you're not hockey. Nowadays it's like Mark was just asking me where I get our players from. And, they're from Minnesota, they're from Detroit, they're from the Czech Republic, they're from all over the place, not just Canada. But hockey's evolved, I mean, to a level. I don't know if you guys ever watched the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I don't ever recommend watching hockey on TV because people just don't understand it. As, they don't know the rules as well. But if you go to a game live, you have a whole new appreciation for the size and the speed and what these guys can do on these little tiny blades. And it's just, it's amazing. But like I said, since the 1980 Olympics, I think that's when hockey in the United States just became booming, and now it's very comparable to Canada.
Mm-hmm. And in Knoxville specifically, the sports market is kind of split, I would think, between like football with UT and a couple of other national pastimes, and then hockey. How would you say that it compares, the fans' reaction to UT football versus the Ice Bears?
I don't think I ever compare us to that, but I mean, I think we have our niche here in this town, and when people, we have a 5,000 seat arena that we were second in the league in attendance, averaging 4,000 a game last year. I'm very confident that this year it will be at capacity more so. Obviously the Predators down the street, they had such a great run 2-3 years ago that just it educated the whole state on what hockey is. And the Ice Bears and the Preds are the only two professional teams in the state, so I think, for the most part, it's just educating. I think that, I told Mark too, you go north of Cincinnati, everybody knows the rules of what hockey is. Here, we do so much around the game of entertaining. Like I said, I played for 15 years professional hockey, but I don't consider myself in the hockey business anymore. I think I'm in the entertainment business. We're doing wiener dog races, we're doing baby races, we're doing Star Wars night, we're doing all kind of crazy things, because we have a demographic around probably 1,300 to 1,400 season ticket holders that come every game. But, if you look at our schedule, we have about 5 games a month, and that's like asking a family of 2 or 3 or 4 to go to the movies 5 times a month, and that's just not possible. So every one of our promotions around our game are very methodically put together, because now we got Star Wars people coming on game 1 of 5. We got Wiener Dog Race people coming on 3 of 5, and they're all so different, but they're all supporting around that core that we have. So, I mean, like I said, I would never compare ourselves to UT, but if you look at our schedule, we'll never play a home game against a football game here ever. I think it's business suicide. But we'll either be on the road or wherever. But we're very methodical about the early part of our schedule. But you'll see after November, start of December, I mean, we're at 4,000 and 5,000 people a game. Student sections are packed, which is great too.
Let's switch out interviewers.
Joe?
Any more volunteering gestures? Yes, you're right.
Hey,
How are you? I'm Lorenz.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So,
Before you get started out, one thing, when I was being scouted to the NHL, my brother called me, and I was coming home from the gym or whatever, and he said, hey, a guy from the St. Louis Blues called, and he wants to see you. He doesn't believe you're as big as they say you are. And so I met this guy, and I'll never forget this for as long as I live. You know how you shake somebody's hand and they kind of get you and your hand crumbles, and you know what I mean? Well, that happened to me that day. And that scout looked at me and said, wait a second. He said, we're still interested in you, but when you shake someone's hand, you shake it as hard as you can, you look them in the eye, and you tell them your name and what you're about. And, just doing that, I mean, it says a lot. And the reason I say that is because we have a lot of interns that come from UT, probably 10 to 12, 15 a year. And about half of them do that, and the other half, I'm not sure what's going to happen in their life. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just didn't mean to get off topic, but that's good.
okay, so I heard you talk a lot about playing sports in the past, but now you're at a position where you're a general manager as a sports team. So how has that shaped your view on sports and your perspective on sports as a whole?
Oh, a great question. It's just because I played professional hockey doesn't mean I knew anything about the back end of the business. And I went about it. I was asked to speak at the National Predators career fair, and I asked why I was on the board, because I went about things a different way. I obviously moved away from home at 15, and then I turned pro hockey, and I finished obviously high school, but I never got to the college thing. And then when I retired from hockey, I got into the golf business, where they put me through business school, and I'm running budgets and doing all kinds of math things that I hated before. But I was in the golf business for a while, learned how to do all that stuff, and then I got the opportunity to buy into the team. And so again, just because I knew the sport didn't mean I knew the business, and I had to get educated really quick on immigration law. So all these guys from Canada and stuff across the border, you just don't send a letter and say, hey, we're the Ice Bears, come see us. It was, there's a lot of things that you need to know about immigration law, workers' compensation law. I mean, these are hockey players. They're out there, trying to explain to a workers' compensation person that this guy broke his hand on this other guy's face, and that's just part of the job. That's not easy to explain. But understanding the laws, obviously, knowing your clientele, knowing your fans, knowing what makes them come to games. Obviously, it's a lot of work, but it was eye-opening just to see the back end, because obviously for me it was just I'd throw a jersey on, a pair of skates, and I'd go do my thing in front of 19,000 people, and I didn't think twice about it. But when you're the guy that's doing the immigration, doing the work comp, scheduling the bus, helping recruit, finding housing for these guys, all those things, and you're looking at the numbers and hoping that your revenue is going to be there too. It's again, it's a challenge, but it's one that I love doing every day. But that's a great question, because it's not easy.
So coming from your background, do you think you were well prepared?
I think I was prepared in the fact that the golf business got me educated in a quick amount of time to be able to operate a property, a multi-million-dollar property for that company, and they entrusted me to do that. I had a kind of an advantage because in the company there was also a former NHL player, and they knew that hockey players don't like to lose at anything. And so whether it's beating a budget or beating someone to the puck in a race, you never want to lose. And so they saw that in me the same way they saw it in him. So, and that was true. I didn't want to lose.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Next volunteer draftee.
How about
Ben,
since you did it.
felt a little nervous going into it. So, going on a little bit more about kind of like how you work in that business. How do you think your international experience comes into a factor as far as like catering to fans? Do you feel like you can cater to a wide variety of people? You might sometimes miss on opportunities because you're so international and you don't know like specific like cohorts down to the Knoxville level.
I mean, I think, well, I've been here a long time. You know, gosh, I've been here over 20 years now, it seems. But, you know, understanding the UT focus and, you know, it's football season and understanding, you know, a lot of things. When I bought into the team, you know, I didn't have a strong hand into the promotional aspect. I mean, they used to have this Knoxville Ice Bears peanut. And, you know, I was like, wow, you know, what kind of demographic were we targeting? And so when I shut that down, you know, I have a daughter, she just graduated from UT last year, but I mean, when she was growing up, I didn't feel comfortable having her at that game. So I geared everything to be more of a family-friendly atmosphere where we have a great mascot. Chili Bear's a rock star. And everything we do is geared to family-friendly stuff. Obviously, I can't control the product of what happens on the ice. If there's 3 fights in the first 20 minutes, I don't have any control over that. But, you know, the other aspect of the fans love it. And to be honest, we target our marketing to women and children because I believe I was married, but I mean, they make all the decisions in the household. If my daughter wanted to go to a ballet, I'm probably going to pay for that and go.
So you say you target like to women and children. So I know sometimes like fighting can be appealing sometimes, but I take it you have zero tolerance for something like that.
I mean, at our games,
Right.
no, not at all. I mean, I think fighting will always be a part of hockey. It's a way to police the game. It can change the game in an instant. Back when I played, there was probably 5 guys that could go toe to toe any night. Now there's probably the game's more skilled than it was back then when I played. Now we have 1 or 2 guys that, you know, if that's your job and you do it well, and we come off the bus and we're flat, you know, our coach will tap that guy on the shoulder and say, hey, change momentum, get us in this game. And that's a thing. You know, a lot of people ask, is fighting stage in hockey? No. I got my face to prove it. Because got a couple of chiclets loose and different things. But, yeah, that'll always be there. But, I mean, and you'd be surprised what people do when, you know, they've worked all week and they come to a hockey game. You'll be surprised at the women that would be banging on the glass and losing their mind, and their husbands are looking at them like, who are you? You know? But I mean, and that's the fun for us. Some of them love that too. You know, there's a small percentage of people that don't like to see that. But it's just like all these people that go to a NASCAR game and can't wait to see a crash. I mean, that's weird, but that's a thing, you know? And, you know, we can, like I said, sometimes we can control it and sometimes we can't. If it needs to be done, it can be done. And, you know, that's just a part of the game. I don't think it'll ever go away.
Switch out interviewers again. And you have more volunteers. I see a volunteer gesture. Very good.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Bridget. I have a cold, so I don't want to.
Okay, no, that's cool. I don't need one of those.
Yeah. Okay, so you brought up knowing immigration laws and like all that stuff for your job. And recently in the country, there's been a lot of tension about immigration, especially from the southern border, but not necessarily from the northern border. So how do you think recruitment has been affected for the game, or as just the game in general, by this tension about immigration?
Well, it's huge, and I've done it all myself over the last number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, there's been 2 times where, well, actually, there's been 1 time, probably about 7 years ago, where I was the only one in the building that knew that these guys being introduced on the blue line were not approved yet. Mm-hmm. And I was having a small heart attack because the paperwork didn't come back yet.
Right.
And sometimes if you get the wrong person that opens up your packet in Vermont and just has a bad day and you click something wrong, they'll just put a stamp on it, circle it, and send it back to you. And, you know, you're just nervous as all get out. But it's, you know, it ended up coming, and my reasoning for not having 18 illegals on the ice was that I hadn't paid them yet. Their first paycheck was the following week, so that was good. But with the way things are with Trump and all the border stuff, it's really gotten tight. Our guys, when they get a P1 visa, they have it for a certain amount of time. And I usually give them about 2 weeks after what would be the season of the championship run to get out of the country. And before, they weren't really tracking it as well, but now they scan your passport and your exit. And if these hockey players are supposed to be out of the country by June 15th and they're not, then there's a good chance that if they're tracked after that, and I try to integrate them the next year, there's a good chance that they might not make it. You know, so it's a lot tighter than it ever used to be.
Yeah, so it seems like it's a big deal, but do you think that hockey as a game, like the camaraderie and like people come together for it, do you think it has the power to change people's perceptions about how immigration, you know, can be a good thing and bring great players into the country to play for our teams?
Yeah, what I didn't mention about your last question was that, you know, most teams have lawyers that do this now.
Right.
And, you know, and I'm about the point where I probably need to pay for that myself, because it's getting to that point where it's I mean, there's been maybe 2 hockey players that I've ever known that have done something stupid at the border or across the border. And hockey players are probably the nicest people that you'll meet, and I don't mean that because I am or was one, but I mean, there's always very polite, very cool guys on the, you know, off the ice, but if you put a different jersey on than I have on, you know, all that goes away. And then we'll talk afterwards and be cool. But I mean, you know, there's hardly any, I haven't, like I said, but 2 guys that have got in trouble at the border as a professional hockey player, so hopefully that stays that way.
Cool.
Okay, next on
Good
your
job.
drafting. I may be at the drafting stage now.
I'll
Drafting.
take it.
Oh, very good.
Mr. Murray, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Ruben is my name.
Ruben, yeah, you helped me
All
out.
right, good. All right, changing gears a little bit. So last season, the Bears lost to Peoria in the playoffs, unfortunately. So what changes have the Bears made in order to survive this coming season and potentially the playoffs?
Well, good question. We're only allowed to protect 13 of our 18 or 19 players. So the rest of those guys are allowed to talk to anybody they want to. But this year of all years, I've never seen anything like it. Almost every player that played for us wants to come back here. And so we've already got a great nucleus. I think we needed to be a lot tougher, and I don't mean that in the sense of fighting, but just the way I think we needed to be a little bit more team tough. You know, we had some guys that would, you know, could change the game or, you know, lay a big hit, and that would be the team that we'd want to take to the playoffs. And then the next night, I don't know what Ice Bear team showed up. Like as a owner, president, GM, like some days it's like, this is our team. This is the team that this is what we work for. And we're scoring goals, we're hitting, we're not taking anything from anybody. And then the next night, they might be figure skaters.
And who's the Ice Bears' biggest rival right now?
I think Huntsville, Alabama. And they're the only team that has bigger attendance than us. They average 6,000 people a game. So when we go in there, it's a battle. You know, you're going into hostile territory in Alabama. And sometimes we market it like, you know, it's Alabama, Tennessee weekend, or whatever it might be. But, you know, we always, I don't know, me personally, I like beating them the most.
Another question. How has Jeff Carr adapted to his new role as head coach of the team?
Good. He's probably the 5th coach that I've hired in my time owning the Ice Bears. And, you know, when I hire a coach, I'm looking for a number of things. Obviously, his ability to recruit, his ability to motivate, his ability to step in front of a camera and educate, and you know, whatever it may be. He has his own TV show now, but you know, the ability to get good players to come here and play in Knoxville. Once they get here, it speaks for itself. I mean, you guys do a great job coming to the games, and you know, these guys play in front of 4,000 people a night here, and there's not too many places in this league that does that. But Jeff, you know, I believe Jeff is going to be, he'll be in the NHL in some capacity, whether it's as an assistant role or something like that. You know, he's a very handsome guy. He's a hockey guy. He's, you know, he's well received in the community and anywhere he goes to speak. Which, you know, for me, it's a reflection of me. It's a reflection of, you know, I have 3 other co-owners that own the team as well as I do, and he's a reflection of them as well. But, you know, I think this will be his 3rd year with us, and, you know, hopefully we'll have a championship.
Okay, let's switch out interviewers.
Good job.
In the draftee stage, unless I see a late volunteering gesture, so you're drafted.
You just got drafted.
Yes.
You're 15 years old and you're nervous.
My question is actually about drafting. Could you explain the process of how you draft players? Like, does it go by like their stats? Like, is personality playing into it too? Like,
Yeah.
do you have to like get to know the players before they start playing on your team?
That's a great question. Obviously, there's a website called Elite Hockey Prospects. I mean, you can see every game and every goal and everything I've ever done. And you know, when we're looking at players, we go to Elite Hockey Prospects and we put in the name and we'll see where the guy played before. If he played on a team that had 70 games and he only played 44, you know, my red flag goes up. Did he blow out his shoulder? Are we going to inherit an old injury from the guy? Jeff goes to his Facebook page, and you know, Facebook's everything now, right? So, you know, is this guy a donkey off the ice? Because I don't want a donkey off the ice. We're sending these guys to speak to kids at Children's Hospital. We're sending them to different promos. And if this guy's just a loose cannon off the ice, we let him go somewhere else. We can't have that. But obviously, first and foremost, he's got to be a great hockey player to be able to, you know, represent this town and this brand. Like I said, secondly, you know, does he have any past injuries that we're going to inherit? Then work comp comes into play and plays 3 games and blows out the shoulder that we should have known about before. We didn't ask the right questions. And like I said, I think the first interview, I felt as a player I didn't ask enough questions about what's the next thing. Should I fight more? What are they looking for? How can I, you know, I want to sign another 3-year deal. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm a part of this puzzle? And I don't feel like I did a great job at that as a player, but as a manager and an owner, I asked all the questions.
Yeah.
It's important.
Okay. Thank you. Good question. We're bringing in another interviewer, and there she is. I'm surprised that one thing hasn't been explored. You'll see if the students get to it.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm Megan. Nice to meet
Pleasure to
you.
meet you.
Okay. Earlier, you spoke about how you were traveling a lot in your career. I want to know, where was your favorite place that you traveled and why?
That's a good question. Gosh, there's a bazillion places. I don't know. Vancouver, flying into Vancouver and playing in like such a beautiful city. You know, sometimes we'd fly in and you know we'd have a day off or whatever and get to explore. But Europe was pretty darn cool too. You know, I'm going to tell my age here now, but I flew to Germany 3 weeks after the Berlin Wall came down. So it was just total pandemonium. The East was fleeing to the West, and they were so like. I remember going on a bus trip and hearing honks of the horn, and there's probably 9 guys in a little tiny car coming from the East and didn't have anything but their clothes on their back, just happy to be free. It was such a cool time of the world to be there, to see that, and playing in front of sellout crowds in Denmark. Denmark was cool. My agent called me and says, yeah, they want you there this weekend, you gotta go, and you're gonna be playing for this team that is based on an island, so every time you play on the road, you gotta go into the bus drives into the ferry and floats across to Copenhagen, and you play in front of 18,000 people. So that was pretty cool too. But like I said, hockey's been so good to me to be able to see all parts of the world. So as far as favorites, I could be there all day probably, but those are some good ones.
Okay, so I know hockey is a very intense sport. Would you say while you were playing that you suffered any major injuries?
Probably the worst one. I mean, I got a puck in the face and it did some nasty damage to me, but then I got hit from behind, racing the guy for a puck. He gave me a shot, just the last stride, and I hit the boards, and somehow my right skate came up here by my face, and I broke 2 of my ribs in my back. That was probably the worst. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying on the ice. Right then. It was so weird, but for the most part, like I said, I promised my mom I would always wear a mouthpiece, and I did, and that puck saved my teeth. It chipped a couple. But a couple from a stick, a puck, and a punch. I thought I'd lost them all, but anyway, I fared pretty well. But yeah, for the most part, it's just nowadays it's kind of like, you know, I go to the gym, I do the elliptical, and what's that sound? In my left knee that I didn't have before. So I start to feel those things now. But.
Good questions. Let's switch up. Amanda, you've not gone, have you? It's time.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Amanda.
So earlier you mentioned that you didn't expect you would ever end up here in Knoxville. Can
Right.
you explain how you came to be here?
Well, a great question. There's a guy that played for the New York Rangers. His name is Don Jackson. I literally ran into him a few times. But he knew my agent, and when I was done playing in Germany, the European seasons end about a month and a half before they do in North America. And so I just got off the plane. I was staying with my mom and dad for a little while, and I got a call from my agent. He said, "Yeah, you remember that guy that played for the Rangers?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, he's coaching in Knoxville in the East Coast Hockey League. He wants to see if you'll come." And I'd already signed a deal to go back to Europe the next year, so I wasn't planning on playing anywhere. He said, "Just for about a month, if you could help him make the playoffs, there's a little over a month, and he's got a bunch of games left, and he'd like to have you." And I said, "Where is Knoxville? Where's Knoxville?" I had no idea where Knoxville was. Anyway, I came down here, played a year. After that, my contract in Europe, I didn't. Anyway, met a girl here, got married, been divorced 3 years now. But now I just babysit 19 hockey players for a living, and just graduated my daughter from UT. She works at Children's Hospital now in journalism. She's writing and doing all that fun stuff. So it's kind of a nice, one of her classes her last year was kind of cool. Whoever the professor was asked to write, you could write something about sports figures. Obviously, she said, "Can I write about my dad?" And the questions she gave me were, pretty cool, about some championships and some special things and records. Set a couple records in my playing day, and the way she constructed all of that, how you get that lump in your throat when you're about to get upset? I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So what you guys are doing is amazing too. So, but yeah, that's how I ended up in Knoxville, and I never left. Obviously, and now I own the team, so I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon.
Switch out interviewers. We're gonna get
Good job.
You're in.
Hi, I'm Maggie.
Hi, man. Mike.
So you said that attendance has been rising and it's going to be even higher this season. How do you think that the family-friendly atmosphere has affected that?
Well, a great question. I was telling Mark, we play in a 58-year-old building down the street, and I don't know if you guys have been in there or not, but it's when I go on the road with the boys and then we walk into the Ford Center in Evansville, and it's like state-of-the-art everything, ribbon boards, everything, and we play in this 58-year-old building. Well, they chose to put $10 million into the building. So one of the things that I've been asking for 15 years is a center hanging video board, like you see at Nayland, that you see at Thompson Board. And when I said earlier I'm in the entertainment business, I was very, very, very proud of our staff and everything that we do without this aspect of entertainment, because we do it all without it. There's nothing visual. You guys are too young to know what a light bright is, but that's what the scoreboard looked like. These little lights. It wasn't good. So they just renovated the building over the summer. We got a new ice floor, we got new boards, new glass, new suites around the glass, 70 new bathrooms, and a center hanging video board. And so now I'm in the production world. So every Tuesday before a game, we're talking about production, and then we're also talking about corporate sales. All summer long, that's what we do. A lot of people think we just put our feet up on the desk and wait for October to run around and then hockey season again. Well, I believe that we work harder in the summer than we do in the winter, because we spend the winter executing all the promises and the sales that we did in the summer. So like the KISS cam and all the things brought to you by, I just sold, before I came here, Zips Car Wash is going to support the dirtiest car in the lot. So somebody go up and take a picture of the dirtiest car in the lot, put it on the video board, and we just won a free car wash. So it's a great, it's a great thing. The Flex Cam brought to you by National Fitness Center. Put the camera around on young person, old person, little kid with the big muscles, and have fun with it. So I think for just that aspect alone, our attendance should grow by 300 to 500 per game. And that's how I think we'll be at capacity almost every night.
And what are you most looking forward to this season with the Ice Bears?
Winning. Obviously winning's contagious, but there was a time when I was fortunate enough to be the captain of the Knoxville team, and we had such a very physical, in-your-face team that I felt like I knew some guys that played against us, and they were like, when that bus pulls down the ramp, we just don't even want to get off. We just want to give you your 2 points and get out of there, because it's such a small, intimate setting. that, you know, when you lay the body in that building and big crash, like, you just don't wanna be there anymore if you get hit all the time. But that's kind of what the team that we're putting together right now. Very high energy, exciting, entertaining, and obviously Knoxville loves to win. And so we've been very fortunate to, we're the only team in the league that's won the championship 4 times. So, like winning.
Do you think that like transferring to like a more family friendly atmosphere has affected the culture of the game at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't tell my players not to hit hard or not to fight anybody because there's, you know, families in the crowd. I mean, I just think that was the best move to make to get away from the bikini nights and, you know, things that were, you know, beer and foul language and fights. That's not what we're about. That's not what hockey's about. I mean, for some, it might be the small percentage, but I mean, you know, like I said, our mascot, Chili Bear. We have a Chili Bear Cup Club. There's about 270 kids in it. And someday, you know, like, they're going to be season ticket holders because they were here as a kid and they got to do all the fun things and see hockey. And now they better understand it and they're bringing their kids to the game. I mean, heck, there's some now that do that. And I was like, you know, they're like, I used to get watch you play. And I'm like, how old are you?
Who's not gone?
So,
Who's not interviewed yet? You haven't interviewed. Let's swap out.
Thank you so
good
much.
job.
And by the way, just for clarity, when you say 70 bathrooms, you're talking
70 new bathroom fixtures
stalls
in the
or-
whole building, yeah.
or urinals or combination, you know,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
70 different rooms.
No, 70 different fixtures that have been
Places
all,
where one can,
yeah, and like, if you think about 58 years that have not been touched.
right.
And
I've
now
been
it's
in those. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Anyway,
Hey, I'm Steve. Nice to meet
Mike,
you.
nice to meet you.
All right. So, if not hockey, what do you think you would be doing? Was hockey kind of like the only thing you wanted to do as a career, or was there anything else you were interested in?
No, I wasn't really interested in anything else as a kid, you know, but then when I got through hockey, obviously I just kind of fell into the golf business. I always say it's the same swing, just a little less violent.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I have a good slap shot once in a while down the fairway, but that's about it. But it's, I fell into the hockey or the golf business, and I was amazed at how running a golf course is kind of like running a hockey team. It's like being a captain of a hockey team. You know, you need the best beverage cart girls over here. You need the best maintenance guy over here to make the product great. You need the best staff that, you know, if you're asking people to pay $49 to play 18 holes of golf, you need to have great customer service. All the things need to, and so I kind of looked at that business as I'm the captain of this team, and I need you to be the best at this. And then so I bought into the team to help it stay in Knoxville. I didn't have any plans on leaving the golf business. And then one thing led to another. 5 months after I bought in, I ended up taking over everything, and I put that same mentality into what I do with the Ice Bears.
Wow. You ever shoot a hole in one?
No, it's close though.
That close? Okay, that's good.
If there was a goalie out there, I might be able to.
So, do you think do you prefer being a player more, or do you like managing more?
I mean, there are different highs. As a player, like I said, stepping out onto the ice for warm up and loud rock music and just 19,000 people funneling in the building, and you're playing at home, and I always thought when we played on the road, if we wore black, we played tougher. I don't know why, but we just did. And then playing at home in front of 19,000 people, wherever it was in Philadelphia or New York or wherever, it's just just a different jam level. And there's a saying in hockey, either get hit or give a hit to get in the game, and it just kind of tune everything out from there. But here as a manager, I always say on my radio show, it's like the hat trick for a general manager is a great promo, a great crowd, probably 4 things. So great promo, great crowd, great win, and maybe 2 fights, and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And then,
Fun time.
yeah,
Yeah.
he sees me at the door, and that's another thing I do. I'm always at the door, win or lose, at the main door where people come and go, because I want to know our clientele. I want to know if they're not happy when they left, or they're all wearing Ice Bear hats when they leave because they love what they saw, and that's the true testament to all the facets that I said. We have the best sales team, we have the best coach, we have the best players doing what they do. Our staff is ticket sales staff, we're doing all the things. All those things come together, it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, really involved, sounds like.
Yeah.
Is there one person you can name that was a really big influence for you, maybe kind of helped you get in the game, or?
Well, obviously my parents, you know, they drove me to all kinds of arenas when I was a kid, to driving through a snowstorm. I just had the same conversation with my dad the other day, because I remember this trip, I was probably 11 years old, and we had the goalie in the car with us. And we were in Buffalo trying to cross this bridge that's like 2 feet of snow had fallen, and my dad turns the car around backwards and drives backwards across the bridge, and that was front wheel drive to him. And I'm like, why didn't you think of that back then? We would all be millionaires. But, you know, just obviously, like I said, my parents, but there's one coach that when I was in junior, I went from first to last place in like a trade, and I was devastated. I didn't see it coming. My agent didn't tell me. I just happened to have I got first star on a Friday and first star on a Sunday against this team, and I got traded to that team the next day. I didn't even know it. And I was not happy. And this coach comes in and tells me all these things he wants me to do, and he installed this one word in me that I'll never forget, and it was discipline. He says, you're going to play my way. We're going to go play against these very tough teams, but you're going to play my way. You're going to play discipline. And if that guy elbows you in the face and you don't react, play discipline. And then we'd score 4 power play goals, win the game. The last 7 minutes of the game, he'd say, hey, you want to go take care of that guy that did that to you? And it's like, no. I know. But I mean, discipline, and discipline's a strong word in everything you do, whether it be when I write the budget for this team, sticking to it, being disciplined, you know, pushing the numbers, you know, discipline in the product. Our coach, we need to play discipline. If we got one guy that we recruited that we know he's a little bit of a loose cannon, and we're in a close game, you've got to reel him in. He's got to play discipline for you so that we can get through this game, you know. So that's that coach. He went on to, we won all of Canada with him. Like I said, we were in last place of all of Canada the year before, and we won all of Canada the next year. He went on to coach the Montreal Canadiens, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and again, 2 years later, I'm playing pro, and the same thing happened. You know, just play discipline, and we won another championship. So,
Who's the name of that coach?
Jacques Martin. You can look him up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, interviewer.
Sure.
Anyone else? Interviewer.
Thank you.
I see a gesture. Good. I'm going to steal one question while you're coming up. You mentioned the new changes and improvements to the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
What was the Ice Bear's role in that? Did you lobby the city in one direction or another? Did you talk to the consultants? What was the Ice Bear's role in trying to get what you wanted?
The biggest thing for me was the ice floor. So when a circus would come to town, they would take the ice out. And having the ice being 58 years old, and the floor, the building being 58 years old, I would have a small stroke when they flipped those switches to make sure those pipes would freeze that floor again. So I spent $20,000 a year on business interruption insurance, because if that floor doesn't freeze, I have a professional roller hockey team all of a sudden. And so it was a push to get those renovations. That and the center hanging video board were the ones that I was just like, you guys, you need to come on the road with us and see what everybody else is doing, because they're all multi-use facilities. And, you know, just until recently, they weren't allowed to sell beer at Thompson Bowling, so the concerts that would come to Knoxville would want to come to the Coliseum. And it can only hold 7,000 people, but I mean, they can serve alcohol there. So that was a big deal for them, but, you know, we don't get any part of food and beverage, so it didn't really matter to me, but those two facets were the biggest improvements, that if the ice wares were going to remain viable here in this town, we would need some assurance that, you know, they can provide for us. And until just recently, they redid the floor, so that was one of my biggest push.
Just an operational question. Okay, I'll let you get in. Do you pay the city for rental on the Coliseum, or how does that work?
I pay almost $5,000 a game.
Okay. All right, now what do you see?
This is going kind of in a different direction.
Sure.
You said you played in Europe and other locations up north. Do you think it's harder to get people enthusiastic about hockey in the South? Because, like, we have football and we have Neyland, like, right over here. Do you think it's more difficult to get people interested?
It is. at certain points. Obviously, everyone's right now like focused in on football here. So, you know, if you look at our schedule online, we don't even have a Saturday home game until December. And so, obviously, I know, you know, like I said, methodically, we need to be on the road. We need to be on the road the first half of the season. But also, you know, have our billboards up, have our pocket schedules out, let people know that when we're here, when's the winter dog race? Everybody wants to know when that is. It's crazy what that is. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, I mean, this will be our 17th season, and you know, other than folks like you that come into town from somewhere else and didn't know that we had a professional hockey team. I mean, if I'm somewhere talking to someone that's lived in Knoxville forever, and those words come out of their mouth, I want to fight them. Because, you know, we do so much around the city with our mascot, with our marketing, and dollars we spend to let people know that, you know, we're not as big as the Preds, but we do exactly what the Preds do. So, good question.
Okay. Trinity, you haven't gone. Anybody else not gone? Who else is not gone? Any of the three of you want to go next? Four of you? No? I will draft you, Trinity. Thank you. While she's getting up here, I'll say that I know Mike for, 15 years, something like that? Yeah. We became associated friends when I was in the Big Brothers program, Levi, and I'm walking up into my first Ice Bears game, and Levi sees Mike and says, "Hi, Mike."
Yeah, that's
He
Maddie's
said, "Hey,
dad.
Levi," right?
Yeah.
Because your daughter and he were in the same class, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
You know the general manager?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, kid. Let's go into the game.
Yeah. That was great. Hi.
Trinity, nice
Nice to meet you. Pleasure.
So earlier we talked about the transition of being 15 and being drafted, but what was the transition in terms of like becoming a dual citizen?
Great question. So when I was married, for 10 years I had a resident alien card, and then it was ready to expire for like $250. I could do the whole citizenship thing, or just do it again for $250. So I did that. But it just so happened that when I was getting divorced, my 10-year of the second card was running out, and so after all I talked about doing immigration for my players, I had to do it for myself. So I had to become a citizen, and what a cool process, you know. So you have to answer 100 of these civics questions that I didn't know. Going through the process, I took the book. Wherever I went, I took the book. Ask me these questions. Ask me these questions, and I knew all 100 of those questions. And you know, trip down to Memphis and get sworn in, and the whole thing was pretty cool. And I was shocked that they didn't take my Canadian passport away from me. So I just pick and choose, you know, whatever the world's doing. I kind of pick which one I wanted to use, I guess. But no, so I just became a citizen a year and a half ago.
Oh, congrats.
So yeah, so it was a neat process, and you know, obviously I've actually lived in the United States longer than I've lived in Canada.
Well, since we're talking about transitions, earlier you also stated that like you kind of went from buying into the team to like running it. How did that go about?
The current ownership group kind of got sideways with the guy that was running it, and I was quite content. I had no intentions of running the team. I was about to be made a regional manager for the company of the golf courses. They own 23 courses, so they wanted to make me a regional where I would be going up and down the East Coast, you know, writing budgets for each of those courses. And I was pretty excited about that. You know, it's kind of like being called up, if you will, where I'd be running my course, but I'd get to travel a little bit. And then when all that happened, it was real quick, and I resigned. They were not ready for that, so I ended up doing Ice Bears and golf business for probably a month and a half to 2 months instead of a 2-week notice.
You have a grand dog named Hemingway?
Yeah, you know him? How do you know that?
Yeah, I've done my research.
No, my
question?
He's a grand dog?
I have a grand
You have
dog.
a grand dog.
Yeah,
Your daughter has a
I've
dog?
never been told that before, but yeah, so.
Your daughter has a dog.
Yes, a golden retriever. Yeah.
Thank you. You definitely make points for doing your research on that. Okay.
I was like,
Let's see,
wow.
others who have not yet interviewed. And let's go.
Nice to meet you.
You too. Hi there, how are you?
Good, Paige, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Okay, so are there any specific instances that have shaped you and who you are today while you played hockey and then as you have been kind of in the work world?
Yeah, just, I mean, like I said, when you move away from home at 15, you either grow up fast or you're back in this little town that, you'll never leave.
Yeah.
So, like I said, just, having to be mature, learning how to tie a tie to go on the road, play, at these games you wore suits and ties. And if you Google NHL hockey players, they all wear suits and ties, but learning how to tie a tie, just, being, again, disciplined and when the coach says to be here at this time, you're here at this time and you respect the process and the team that drafted you. But like I said, that coach that I talked about, I don't feel like it. There's a couple coaches that I feel like really kind of helped shape me, but I mean, I think he was probably the one that instilled a, this is your role. This is what we want you to do. This is our puzzle piece is you. And, around you there's going to be another guy that has a different role than you. And so, I mean, great question, because it's like, I didn't really even know what my role was. I was just, I'd fight once in a blue moon, but I love scoring goals. And that's what I did. But this guy kind of molded me a little bit more to be more of a leader. I was very fortunate to wear a letter. I was a captain of a number of teams. I was assistant captain for some others. And when that happens as a kid, especially, you're kind of like, wow, you feel a little bit different than the other guys, but you also feel responsible. So, I think I posted something on my Instagram the other day that I'm very blessed to do what I do and be responsible for all the things that I'm responsible for in the integration, the bus. I bought Justin Timberlake's bus off of him 4 years ago. That's how we travel. So, I have another company, open up another company to support the bus, so just all those things and things I never thought I'd put my hands on and be a part of.
So I'm not interviewers, you or you?
Good job.
You know you've got to go left, right? Okay. Anybody else not in the hot seat yet? We got everybody.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Pleasure.
Hannah.
Plan on that?
Nice to meet
Let's
you.
get everybody. Good.
Okay, so one question that I had, you said that there's only 2 professional hockey teams in the whole state, and I was wondering if other states like up north typically have more hockey teams.
Yes. There's as well as, I guess especially in like take Toronto for instance. You've got Ontario, or you got Toronto and Ottawa, and they're these rivals. They're in the same province, but there's so many more like minor teams in Canada than there is obviously here. So that's why I think we have an advantage, because unless you want to see a professional hockey game, you're in Knoxville, you're going to drive 2.5 hours to Nashville, and they do an amazing job. How many people have been to a Preds game? Yeah, so you guys know what I'm talking about. From the entertainment side, they do an amazing job, but to answer your question, there's other teams even in our league that have more professional teams than just one, but I kind of like that because they're in the middle of the state, we're over here, and we kind of support each other.
My next question would be, do your players, are they on the same level as the Predators players?
No, so that's a great question. So there's the NHL, that's where the Preds are. There's the American Hockey League where I played with the Hershey Bears. So when I was at the Flyers, when I got called up to Philly, I got called up from Hershey. So NHL, American League, ECHL, East Coast Hockey League, and then us, and then there's a league below us. So when our guys get called up, they go to the East Coast Hockey League. And so there's been 3 guys that have been in our league they went from making $500 a week to like $2.7 million a year. So, one's a goalie, played for Carolina, plays for Carolina now, I believe, Scott Garland. But yeah, it's possible.
Okay, swap out, you for you. Have I missed anybody? Okay, our last interview segment.
Okay, you.
All right, pleasure to meet you.
Okay, so when at 15, did you ever see yourself in this position that you're in right now?
I think everybody hated me when I was a kid, because when they came around and they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was steadfast on, I'm going to be a professional hockey player. And now when I look back and I think, well, how very fortunate I was to actually do that. You know, like I said, it was like, even guidance counselors, it's like, okay, we gotta pick a path, what's the path? And I said, I just wanna be a pro hockey player. But what after that? And I'm like, I don't know. But, you know, like I said, I've been very blessed to have things fall into place for me the way that they do. And, I don't know, I've learned a lot along the way.
That's gonna be my last question is, what have you learned now that you would go back and tell your 15-year-old self?
I would have, I know I've used that word a lot in this process. I probably would have played a little bit tougher than I did, because the coaches I had then said, you know, we just want you to score goals.